Marco, welcome
Nice to meet you.
in Degamefi. Marco, I would like to know, who do you represent, who are you, and what's going on?
Yeah, definitely. So it's a pleasure to be here. So many joyful people actually attending this event. So it's always good to be back in Georgia. I'm the head of expansion of Tether. Tether is the biggest stablecoin in the world. Stablecoin is let's say digital currency, which is pegged to, in this case, a fiat currency like USDT, for example. So it's 1-to-1 to the US dollar.
So Tether only have US dollars?
No, Tether doesn't only have US dollar. Actually, there are different currencies that mirrors other fiat currencies and also other commodities. So currently we have also EURT, so which is the digital version of the euro, which is quite becoming also strong for remittances and cross-border payments, so also like USDT. Then we have also MXNT. We have the Chinese yuan offshore, C and H. And we have XAUT or Tether Gold, which is really one product that is becoming bigger and bigger, and basically it represents 1 ounce of gold. And the gold is stored in Switzerland. So basically, you as a customer, you just can have like your portion of physical gold, but digitally.
So it's going back to the gold standard.
Exactly,
basically.
exactly, because that's what we care about. Digital currencies are used for many different reasons. Of course, to make cross-border transactions, because they represent a means of payment which is like efficient and cheap as well. And of course, you can send a transfer 24/7, Saturday night in 2 seconds. You send the transfer to Uganda, for example, from Europe, but also as a store of value. Especially against inflation, right? We are seeing many fiat currencies devaluating year over year, like in a crazy manner. And Tether Gold is pegged basically to the gold and edging against inflation.
Yeah, when I studied Tether maybe 5 years ago, something like that. The thing was always in my mind was, okay, it's pegged on the US dollar, but that's what I try to avoid in the first place, the US dollar, the risk against the US dollar, especially against the devaluation against the US dollar. And so when you implemented the gold tokenization, that's where I said, that's a move which is that is fantastic. Now the only entity that you need to trust is the vault in Switzerland, basically, right?
I totally agree.
But we also need to trust you, to trust Tether that they actually own the gold there.
I totally agree with you. Actually, Tether UST anyway. Yes, it's a centralized company, right? So you have to trust someone. You have to trust Tether. You have to trust the management of Tether and the operations of Tether. With the gold, as well. In the end, there is a company behind, which is us. But anyway, at least you have direct, let's say, connection with physical gold. We are companies made up of Bitcoiners, and we strongly advocate in any campaign, everything we do, Bitcoin. Although it's not a direct interest that we have.
Very interesting.
But Bitcoin is the only real decentralized asset or digital currency. Yeah.
As far as we know.
Yeah.
Yes, that's great. There is no way to have decentralized gold. It's impossible. I mean, you can take the risk on yourself, but then that's another set of complication that you have to deal with.
You mean on the code of Bitcoin, or?
Yeah, I mean, if you have a tokenized version of gold, it has to be centralized, right? Because somebody has to own it somewhere, and you need to know who owns it.
Yeah.
It cannot be.
The main, let's say, similar kind of digital assets is indeed Bitcoin, right? It has been created as a deflationary asset, and that's the real kind of digital gold, right? Because in the end, the tokenization of gold, like in an ounce of gold, anyway, there is behind a centralized company. That's true.
But don't you think Bitcoin had also a lucky unfolding of events, the fact that the founder disappear, which creates the momentum, because you can duplicate Bitcoin code very easily, but to duplicate Bitcoin history, it's impossible. Mm-hmm. So it's decentralized. Bitcoin is decentralized almost by luck. You understand what I mean? Is that there is nobody who has enough stake in Bitcoin to being able to influence it. What if you wanted to duplicate Bitcoin and do exactly the same? You would have people who have vested interest into this thing. So when I look at Bitcoin, I say, wow, that's I don't know how to say it in English, but that's a very lucky event.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. But you have to think that most of the, let's say, valuable companies that are made up of Bitcoiners are also working every day to secure the network and to decentralize the network even more. It would be really utopistic to try to get the 51% of the control power in Bitcoin, because it means that if you make the math, it's a multi-billion job to do, and while you are doing it, people will just lose trust in Bitcoin, mm-hmm. and the value will go down. So the people that spent all those money to buy all the chips and the ASICs and to mine Bitcoin eventually will have nothing in their hands, right?
Yeah.
So
it's not in their interest.
It's actually like a really good planned action. Seneca said once, luck is when preparation meets opportunity, and I think that here it's a very good mix of preparation and opportunity.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. About Tether now, you're here in Georgia, you're the #1 sponsor and backing this Degamefi conference. Why you're here in Georgia? What are the plans? And how do you see Tether evolving here in this specific market, which is Georgia? Are you looking to use Georgia as a platform because of the legal and infrastructure here, which tend to be favorable to crypto, or how does that work? What is the plan?
So first of all, the first time I came here, I have to admit that was because also I had friends with whom I studied together, and so they were telling me a little bit about the environment here, and I was quite interested about Georgia as a whole. And when I came here, actually I came from the airport and I was seeing like a lot of Tether logos around the city, Bitcoin and Tether logos, and I was like, wow, I didn't do anything here.
Okay.
So better if I don't go to a country actually. and people, I saw that there was like a big, let's say, even OTC market and so on. And then I started like meeting people. I said like, okay, I'm here, let's meet people. And I saw really, let's say, open and good environment for the blockchain industry. And so what we try to do is to kind of providing guidance to the institutions and to the even private companies, like we did in Switzerland. Lugano is a small city in the southern part of Switzerland, but it's the third financial district of Switzerland because it's very close to Milan. And there, basically, we launched the Plan B project. Switzerland used to be, and especially Lugano, a center of the banking system. So there were like a lot of banks, and suddenly these banks almost disappeared, and a lot of people remained unemployed. And that's why we call it like a kind of Plan B. Now we see a big relocation of the kind of blockchain companies coming and buying real estates, the old places where now in one really historical place where there was a very let's say renowned bank, now it's taken by Plan B, and it will be like a Plan B hub with a lot of blockchain companies and so on. So we are seeing, let's say, the traditional finance like mixing with the, let's say, digital finance. And the problem is that you attract many also bad actors when you do something like this. You would have the same problem in the traditional financial sector, right? We know all of them because not myself, but the people, the founders of Tether and Bitfinex as well. They basically built up this sector themselves, and we know who are, let's say, the things that could work in the present and also in the future, and we can try to help the governments in give some guidance, let's say. So we are trying to, with the right ingredients, to help the parties in order to not commit mistake and not lose 5-10 years, because that would happen if you associate with the even wrong parties and so on. So what I'm talking about is like, we always start with education, because now there might be also influencers in countries, in cities and so on, that advocate for, I don't know, the new NFT project, the new token that is promising like a lot of money and so on. So first of all, we need to let people understand what's behind these projects, right? Are you aware to make a, to do a proper understanding of what's behind?
So basic pedagogy, basically, what you start with is basic pedagogy.
Indeed, if you look at here, like the first thing that we announced was a course together with a local university, BTU, and with another local executive education company called the Academy of Digital Industry.
Do you see results? Because it seems to me that it's going against human nature, the will to get money quick. Do you see any results? Can you assess the number of people you've saved?
It's difficult to assess, but what we do is for example, when we go to in a city or in a country, we check all the, let's say, local media outlets and so on, and we try to give education to the public. Like if you have a free copy of newspapers here, we would try to every week like have a educational article about what is Bitcoin, Lightning Network, what is blockchain, but we start always like with a major economical like discussion. So what is inflation, for example? What are money? What is a central bank?
So it's great, this conversation, because then you can also implement some kind of, I will call it libertarian philosophy, although it might not be your will, but to understand that, because you need to deal with the government, but at the same time you're advocating for decentralization of something which the governments owns, which is central banking, and so it's very interesting dynamics.
Of course, everyone has its own incentives, right? So a central bank maybe is not immediately pro with Bitcoin ethos, but we are seeing actually that in Switzerland they are changing completely mind, and also big banks are completely changing their mind. If you look at the different speeches of big banks now, maybe I don't name them, but you see the difference of the speeches of the management between 2017 and now. The narrative changed completely.
Isn't it because now they see the financial interest for them as well, and they feel that they can have some sort of leverage or unfair competitive advantage?
It's also a lot of politics, to be honest, because we tend to avoid to use the word cryptocurrency in general, because for us, cryptography is like a tool that you use to you use a tool together with like other tools in order to make something working. But for example, you go to a university, you go to politics in general, and you speak about cryptocurrency or you speak about blockchain, you have two different. No, cryptocurrency not, but blockchain yes, right? But then you say, okay, make me an example of blockchain that is not having underlying cryptocurrency. They don't know even what to answer, right? So we need to first of all like educate about what is behind.
And how do you price the eventuality of quantum computation? Like killing basically blockchain technology, cryptography, I would say.
But I'm not an expert myself, so I tend to not to talk about things that I don't know completely. But if you look, I can say what I hear from people smarter than me. But if you look at the algorithms that are behind even Bitcoins, it's not that it's like algorithms that need quantum computing to be solved, right? Indeed, the ASICs that are developed to solve a specific issue, which is like in the end solving a guessing problem, right?
So it's iteration basically.
Yes, and the algorithms behind, let's say, the formulas behind are adaptable to the level of difficulty, which that means like how many miners are part of the game. But you don't need to solve crazy differential equations in order to get a result. It's really a kind of, I would say, in brackets, simple guessing job. So it's not my field, but I have the tendency to say that at least it's not making a big issue on that side.
Two questions, Marco. You're from Italy, yes?
I'm an Italian citizen. Used to live in Switzerland for a long time. Yeah.
In Lugano.
In Lugano, yes.
So, can you explain briefly the memorandum of understanding that you had with Georgian government, and what does it consist of, and what are the plans for this?
Yeah, definitely. So in Georgia, first of all, when we arrived, we started with exploration. So first of all, we try as a company, we try to not go and shake the hands of people just for the sake of it. So if we shake the hands of someone, it's because we understood that we are already doing business here. So why not putting it on an umbrella which fosters everyone? So I spent, I would say, at least 6 months in Georgia. First, really quiet, going around, knowing people, talking with people, and so on. And before, we already did the investment in CityPay, which is like a main crypto payment processor integrator in Georgia, but in the region as a whole. They were very good founders. They were doing a good job. So they helped us in establishing other relationships, and then we met a lot of governmental authorities, several, and we found quite an open, also, let's say, discussion, open environment there. And I said, in my opinion here, we need to kind of give structure of what is happening, because there are many parties who are, like, say, working in maybe not super coordinated manner. Maybe we can be the private party helping, because we already did it somewhere else. So we can, we have the experience of places in Latin America, we have experience in Switzerland. Our team is advising a lot of governments, law enforcement everywhere. We are cooperating with law enforcement of basically most of the countries. So we said, okay, let's do this MOU. And yeah, I can tell a little bit more about it.
And I guess selling your product is a little bit easier compared to like typical Web3 things, because you know it's pegged to things that people know. So your product it's easier to explain than any other Web3 related business that exists, and that puts you also in a position where you can get your foot into the door and get your message.
But you know, my job is a bit difficult sometimes, because first of all, I have to try to explain that I'm not selling anything, which is, you know, if a blockchain company comes to you, or a digital company comes to you, it's like, I want anyway to sell something in order to get money. Our business model doesn't allow us to make money because I did a contract with someone here, right? Because Tether, you send Tether, some money to Tether, Tether issues USDT, and then the USD we have in treasury bills from US, and then we get the yield from the treasury bills. Okay, so even if I spend all my life now in Georgia and we cover all the market against the whole market of USDT, you know, it won't make a really huge impact. For us, it's really more creating awareness behind and creating examples. In the end, we are not making money. We are granting money for the sake of creating stability in the industry, you know. And that's why sometimes, you know, when maybe predecessors of mine, other blockchain companies come, exchanges and so on, and promise things that then don't happen, it's difficult for me, because they will think about me like, this guy,
that's another guy,
Italian guy, which is already strange that an Italian guy is around in the financial industry, although Italians invented the banks in the Renaissance. So, but a guy is coming here. What is the reality, the objective behind? But it's really creating awareness for the sector, and it's maybe not everyone will understand it immediately. But.